I will add another aspect to that. Okay, so in the bed, I'd been wearing just like a little vest top and knickers. That was my PJs for that night. And when I leaped out of bed, I knocked all the water and that off, so I was drenched. And because they were trying to grab me out of the bed, they were trying to grab onto my clothes, and I wriggled out of my clothes.
So... That's the best part of the whole story.
So when all that happened, yes, I was on all fours, naked, drenched, arguing about God. So yeah, I was on all fours, arguing with the educated man, being frog marched down a corridor and being executed whilst naked. Yeah. Like so no wonder she offered me a blanket. I mean, it's probably for her benefit more than mine.
She's like, can I stop looking at your fanny, please?
No, you must look at my vag.
Behold its wondrousness. It glows with the light of 1,000 suns.
Now you believe in God.
Come to me, my sweet summer child.
Or baby oven.
Yeah.
Because it's keeping the baby at the right temperature so it can finish cooking.
Well, I mean, the boob cut off, it didn't really bother me that much, to be fair. I mean, it takes an emotional toll a lot more on a lot of people than it did for me. I was kind of lucky. I was just really happy to have this fucking thing off me.
Yeah, I was going to say,
lump's been bugging me for years. See you, sayonara, lumpy lump.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, say, as somebody who's not had a boob cut off, I always thought that would be like, huge, like say, emotional thing and, traumatic thing. But I guess when that's the thing that's causing you issues, it's kind of like, yeah, just get rid of that.
For a lot of women, it is a really emotional, loss of femininity, loss of intimacy, because they don't feel sexual anymore. They don't feel attractive. For me, it was just like, I just did not care. Like people would, because I just went lopsided. I wouldn't even wear a prosthetic or anything because it was uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, luckily you're super hot anyway, so boob or not, you're good. You're sorted.
Some people said Anna was too hot, and that is actually the removing the boob actually brought her back down to the realm of mere humanity.
Maybe that's what it was with the doctors. They were just jealous of your perfect tits.
They were like, we need to even this shit out.
So this mattress is on the floor, and they stood me next to it, and the doctor said, put one knee down. And I remember I put both knees down, and he shouted, I said one knee. And again, this may have been my brain. He may have just said kneel down, but I thought they were going to execute me because I've got my hands behind my back and they're telling me to kneel down in this dark room on the floor. And I honestly thought I was going to get shot in the back of the head. So I'm begging forgiveness, apologizing for my awful behavior. And they put a hand on my head and pushed me forward till I was lying sort of face first on this mattress with my hands handcuffed behind my back, and told me basically to stay there and behave until the morning. In which I was, like I say, very apologetic. I was crying at this point, and I lay there. And I remember a nurse coming in, a nice nurse saying, do you want a blanket? And crying very loudly, I don't deserve a blanket. Because I was saying, poor me. I'd realized the error of my ways. And
God is real. Morality exists.
I've let society down with my terrible behavior. Only good people are rewarded with blankets.
You're a rad little dude.
Yeah.
Because there was one thought that trapped me for a whole day when you had your big flare and you were really struggling and his eyes were going, and because he couldn't focus, his eyes were constantly darting around. It looked like he was possessed. Pretty freaky.
Have the doctors written that out as a possibility?
Oh, well, they brought in a young priest and an old priest, but then as soon as they came into the room, the Bibles in their pockets burst into flame, but we didn't think it was anything to worry about.
Yeah.
That point where you think you're about to be executed, like that's a fucking torture technique, mock execution, Like that's a legitimate psychological scar that you still bear. Like just the idea that someone is going to kill me is so foreign to most people, unless I guess you live in Ukraine, sorry.
Yeah.
But like, that's such a that's a big lump
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
big
And
knock on the head.
it was very, very clear. It wasn't like, oh, I wonder if they're going to. That was the reason I was there. That's the reason why they were shouting as such at me to kneel down, and they were all behind me, and I had these handcuffs on because obviously that was the only reason.
Yeah,
The
room 6 is
hospital.
the execution room. Duh.
I think we should say that we have spent a lot of time shitting on doctors, but
Yeah.
there are good doctors and there are bad doctors who make good decisions and good doctors who make bad decisions, and that we would not be here at all were it not for their work. And it's good for us to have a grump and to clear the air, but like doctors are pretty cool.
Yeah, I must admit the majority of doctors, nurses, paramedics have been very supportive and very understanding and have done their best to look out for my best interests. We tend to focus on the ones that don't because they're probably more impactful on how we feel.
Well,
But
exactly.
there are many, many good people.
I have an amazing GP who is very difficult to see, obviously, because she's amazing and everybody wants to see her. So whenever I can, I get in to see her. And yeah, most of the ED staff have been amazing.
My child's gone wrong.
Yeah, basically, it's broken.
Can I change it for a better one?
I would like a swapsy. I didn't keep the receipt, but I'll just get one of these fresh ones right out of the oven.
Just a replacement.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be getting another like grown kid because they'll only be in a hospital because there's something wrong with them. So you want to get a fresh one.
True. Freshly cooked baby. No, that sounds not good.
Well, also, I don't want it so fresh that it's still covered in goop.
But I suppose it's a bit like taking cookies out of the oven. They're nice when they're warm,
except
but you don't
taking a
want
baby out of an incubator.
Yeah, well, you don't want your cookies to burn your mouth. You don't want the chocolate in them to still be like molten lava.
Yeah.
But you want them warm. There's one that I think I even now it seems really real that there was 2 nurses and they'd come into my room in the night and they were stealing my things. And I was getting really angry that they were stealing from me. And I remember trying to pry the nurse's hand open. And she was saying to the other, like, kind of laughing, like, she's really hurting me because I was trying to pry her fingers. But that made it even more realistic that she obviously had something of mine in her hand. That's why she was trying to stop me. And I remember getting really aggro about this. And
so were the nurses real?
I mean, looking back, it seems like even now, I think, yes, there were people in my room and yes, they were stealing because there was no other reason for them to be in there. But then my logical brain said, why would they be coming into my room and stealing? And I've got no one else to verify that they existed in the first place.
I will give pretty much anything a go to try and lessen the effects of what's going on with me at the moment. So I have, been in contact with the green fairy, so I have high hopes for that. So
are you just a quick green fairy question? Are you looking at the Rick Simpson oil stuff or just some good greens?
If you're going to start doing a drug deal, then we should turn the camera off.
No. It's just because, like, the thing is, like, with medical cannabis, I put quotes around it, specifically for cancer, it needs to be more than just like a bit of weed. You have to super concentrate it into this like thick, viscous, black 10 gajillion THCs. And then you have like a rice grain's worth of it pretty regularly. Right.
It's a very fine line between advocating for yourself and saying what's happening and what you think is going on and what your thought processes are, and actually what is happening, or if your doctor's not taking you seriously, then that can be a real.
So there's 2 sides for that. Is that one is confirmation bias, that once you've got that idea in your head, then everything you look at and everything you read is going to confirm that yes, he's got MS.
It's if all you've got is hammers, everything's a nail.
Yeah. But then the other thing is the doctors, they are God and they know best. And so when they say, don't worry, then you kind of feel, well, they must know what they're talking about. And then it's hard to, like you say, advocate for yourself when everyone's telling you, no, it's not that. When you feel, actually, I think it might be. And it's really important for Lewis to have you and Rachel being his voice.
When I saw my GP the next time, I was pregnant with my daughter. And she just kind of offhandedly said, oh, so, what's happening with that lump? And I said, well, I've got like pregnant boobs, so I don't know. And
Right, right.
she went, oh, well, we'll just tick that off as fine then.
What?
Vividly remember watching her put a little tick in the box on a piece of paper. And I'm still, I think I'm working through the anger on that. I'm not sure if I'm doing a very good job with it, but
I
so
think it deserves like a dose of anger, like enough to be
yeah,
like a grumble, I'd say
Well,
at
that
least.
could, like, I mean, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but that could have changed the whole course of things, couldn't it?